Okay, so we shall start off with the class. Mm, so can you see my screen? And am I audible? Okay, so we shall start off with. Okay, so today we'll start off with. Before like going on to my main topics, I would like to explain RSA algorithm today. Okay, RSA algorithm actually Bismita ma'am she has to take up the topic, but for my sessions RSA algorithm is needed everywhere. So or else I won't be able to explain. I'll be able to explain, but you people won't be able to understand. So I have taken up this topic today itself. So let's get started. So when I'm talking about RSA algorithm, you have to know what is asymmetric cryptography. Okay, so RSA algorithm it comes under asymmetric cryptography algorithm. Okay, so do you remember what is symmetric and asymmetric algorithm? Hmm? Key. Yes. Means what exactly what is it? Hmm? Symmetric got public key. Okay. And what about asymmetric key?
Has both public key and private key. Two key it has.
Okay. It has two keys. That is public key and private key. And symmetric cryptography only has one single key, right? So asymmetric algorithm we talk about public key cryptography, right? So it requires use of only one it requires use of two keys, that is one is public key and the other is private key. Okay, and public keys they are associated or it can be associated with the identity of a node. Remember the node, that is it includes one public certificate which is signed by certification authority, that is CA, and then again it can be requested to verify the certificate. So I hope you remember what is digital signature, then certification authority, then they are talking about. Yes, okay, so you remember, fine. Then public key cryptography it requires the effort of deploying a PKI. So do you remember what is PKI? Or just do you remember what is how much what is the how many number of bits are required by asymmetric cryptography? Can you remember that? That is asymmetric cryptography it requires higher processing, right? And it requires long keys, say at least 1024 bits. Okay, so that is 1024 bits is required for RSA algorithm. Okay, it is to be used there. Then alternatively, again we have other schemes and techniques also, say ECC. We won't be needing those, just we have to know. Then ECC, then and ECC this requires shorter keys than the RSA keys. Okay, so mainly we'll be focusing on what is RSA algorithm today. So because of these reasons, symmetric cryptography is preferred over asymmetric cryptography. Why? Because symmetric cryptography it is preferred in terms of say processing speed, then computational effort, and also size of the transmitted messages in between the two parties. Okay, so public key can be used, which is that is it can be used to set up symmetric keys, and that is used in some subsequent communications. Okay, so talking about asymmetric cryptography now. So this is about asymmetric algorithms. that is we require public key, private key. Then it is talking about certification authority, digital signature and all, right? Then uh, asymmetric cryptography, it is used for VPNs, that is virtual private networks. Okay, that is, if I try to give example of asymmetric cryptography, then the biggest example for this, for virtual private networks, is the RSA protocol. Okay, so when we are talking about RSA, we have three professors for constructing this algorithm, that is Ron Rivest, Adi Shamir and Leonard Edelman. Okay, so these three professors, they came up with the RSA encryption algorithm, and the RSA algorithm was named after their initials, that is Ron Rivest R, Adi Shamir A and Leonard Edelman. So these their initials they took up and they came up with this idea of RSA encryption algorithm. And this is, we know, it is an implementation of public or private key cryptography because it comes under asymmetric cryptography algorithm. Okay, so this is a most secure means of transmitting the data, that is the RSA algorithm. So not only it is used for transmission of data, but the person or the user, whoever is using it, can also digitally sign a document with the use of this RSA crypto systems. Okay, so there are many ways you can use this RSA algorithm. Then these systems have been prevalent from a longer time. Okay, so RSA algorithm, it came into existence uh, say much before, this came into existence much before. So what is the idea, what it is, that is, so Ron Rivest, Adi Shamir and Len Edelman, they developed the method of RSA algorithm, and this is the most popular and proven asymmetric key cryptography algorithm till date. Okay, so based on mathematical fact, it is easy to find and multiply large random, that is large prime numbers together, but it is extremely difficult to factor their product. Okay, so this is a very important feature of RSA algorithm, that is, it is using some mathematical fact and it is easy to find and multiply large prime numbers together, but it's very difficult to factor their product, and RSA algorithm, it helps in this, it helps in overcoming this property. That is, this is a way bit difficult, so it RSA algorithm, it helps to overcome this difficulty. Okay, so when we talk about RSA algorithm, it uses two large random prime numbers. Okay, it uses two large random prime numbers. So as the prime number, it gets larger and larger, its use for privacy and security system is increased. That is, the prime number, however larger you use it, the security systems and privacy, that is privacy and the security of the system, is enhanced, that is, it is more increased. So but though the use of these numbers and the key, the data is secured from prying eyes. That is, through this use of numbers, and we require a key. So two random numbers, that is two large prime numbers and one key. So taking these into account, the data is secured from the hackers and all. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, RSA algorithm is a very important method in asymmetric cryptography algorithm. Okay, so here you can see an example, that this example I have taken it previously also, that is Alice and Bob, Alice being the sender and Bob being the receiver, right? So before going on with RSA algorithm, do you remember the difference between symmetric key algorithm and asymmetric key algorithm? Do you remember? That is, when I'm saying asymmetric and um, asymmetric, one difference you already know, that is, one uses a public key and the other uses two keys, that is, one is public and the other is private, right? So this is a main difference between symmetric and asymmetric key, right? So do you remember what is symmetric encryption in depth? Do you remember? What is encryption? Do you remember what is encryption? Encryption means what? Conversion of plain text to ciphertext. You remember this, right? Yes, plain to ciphertext. So don't get confused, okay? After encryption comes symmetric, then comes asymmetric. Okay, so when we talk about encryption, encryption means conversion of plain text to ciphertext. Fine. Then in encryption types we have two. That is, one is symmetric encryption and one is asymmetric encryption. Okay, so symmetric and asymmetric comes under encryption types only. Okay, and basic differences you know, that is symmetric encryption uses one key for both encryption and decryption purpose, and asymmetric encryption uses public key for encryption but a private key for decryption, right? And symmetric encryption, this is the best known encryption technique, okay, because it uses one key for both encryption and decryption, and because of that symmetric encryption is less complex and it also executes faster than the asymmetric encryption, right? That is, the plain text is encrypted using one key and the same key is used at the receiving end to decrypt the received ciphertext. So I hope you remember these things. Yes, I hope you remember these things. Again, asymmetric encryption means what? It is also known as public key cryptography. Remember, it also is known as public key cryptography. Then asymmetric encryption is considered to be more secure than symmetric encryption because it seems it uses two keys for per process. That is, one is public key, one is the private key. So because of that, asymmetric encryption is considered to be more secure than the symmetric encryption. Yes, and what happens in this process is that the public key which is used for encryption, that is public, that is, it is available to everyone, right? But the private key is not disclosed. So private key is only known to the owner. Remember? And this encryption method is used in everyday communication over the internet. Definitely this type of encryption is used over the internet because over the internet we share so much of information every day, right? So when the message is encrypted using the public key, it can only be decrypted using the private key. Talking of asymmetric cryptography. So whenever a message is encrypted using the public key, it can be decrypted using the public key, right? So then digital certificates, remember, I won't go into depth, just remember what is symmetric encryption, what is asymmetric encryption, or symmetric cryptography or asymmetric cryptography. We are talking about asymmetric cryptography over here. So talking about this RSA algorithm which comes under asymmetric cryptography algorithm. Okay, so this is just an overview of asymmetric key cryptography. That is this example. So here what is happening, every user has its own public key and its own private key. So one key is public which is available to everyone on the network and one is the private. So here in this diagram you can see that Alice has her own two keys, that is, one is the public key and one is the private key. Okay, and Bob also has its own two keys, that is, one is the public key and one is the private key. Okay, then what happens is that encryption, it goes as follows. Okay, that is, Alice, she takes the plain text. Okay, Alice, she takes PT is the plain text and she encrypts it using her public key, that is the key. So she takes this public key and performs the encryption, and then after performing encryption she gets the ciphertext, that is CT. Okay, CT is the ciphertext, PT is the plain text. So she performs encryption and she gets the ciphertext and she sends it over the internet to Bob. Okay, because she is the sender, so she has to send it, and she sends it using this internet and sends it to Bob on the other end. Now when this ciphertext is received at Bob's end here, what he does is he takes his private key, that is KD. KD is his private key, and he decrypts it to get his plain text. Okay, did you get it? So now when he receives this and ciphertext from Alice from this end, so he takes his own private key KD and it decrypts it to get his plain text. Okay, so you can see that there are two keys involved here, right? One is the public key of Alice for encryption and the private key of Bob for decryption. Okay, so similarly when we think the other way round, suppose if Bob, he wants to send a message to Alice, what will he do? He'll simply simply take the plain text, right? He'll simply take the plain text and he would take his own public key, that is KE. Okay, he'll take his own public key KE, apply it to this plain text, and he'll get the ciphertext, right? And then what happens after this? He sends it over the internet back to Alice, and Alice would, how she would read this ciphertext? She would use her own private key. That is, KD is her private key, so she will use her own private key on this ciphertext to get back the plain text. So this is the simple method of asymmetric key cryptography. This is just a review of this. Okay, so this is how communication happens in asymmetric key cryptography. Okay, so now after understanding what is asymmetric key cryptography, we'll go on to discuss RSA step by step, and then we'll see an example also how RSA works. Okay, so next is RSA algorithm. Okay, so this is the RSA algorithm. So we use a technique that is mod. We use mod here. So mod here, you don't have to calculate manually. You have to use your scientific calculator. I hope you have your scientific calculators. I'm not talking about today, but just keep it with you. Okay, you'll need the scientific calci to calculate these sums only. Okay, then we use the mod operation here, and what the mod operation does is, you have to remember that mod operations, they are used to limit the value in certain range, and it takes the remainder instead of the quotient when we perform the basic division. So remember that. So suppose if you want to divide a number, say I'm taking a number 34. Suppose you want to divide 34 by 11. We already know that 11 into 3 is 33, right? And 11 into 3 is 33, and 34 by minus 33 gives 1. Yes, so 3 is the quotient and 1 is the remainder. So we take remainder, that is 34 mod of 11, that is 34 is divided by 11. So 34 mod 11, we take the answer as the remainder, that is 1. Okay, so mod operations, they always take the remainder instead of the quotient when we perform the basic division. So remember that. Just keep in mind about that. Okay. Then, so based on, suppose suppose this is the algorithm. So algorithm is nothing that first step is that we have to choose two large prime numbers, say P and Q. Okay, so we have to choose two large prime numbers P and Q. So do you know what is a prime number? What is a prime number? We have so many types of numbers, right? One is prime number. Mainly we have prime numbers and composite numbers, right? So what is a prime number? You have to know the meaning of a prime number. Remember what is a prime number? Only multiple is 1. Yes, that is, prime number is a natural number but greater than 1. Okay, but that is not a product of two smaller natural numbers, and it is divisible by itself. That is, the prime number itself into 1, it gives the prime number. Okay, so can you give me an example of a prime number? Three, 5. Okay, so you know, you got the idea what is 13. Yes. 11. Yes. So you know what is a prime number, right? So you know what is a prime number now. So here in this algorithm, what you have to do, you have to choose two large prime numbers. Also, you have to choose those numbers. There are conditions how to choose those prime numbers. You just can't take the prime numbers in that way. There are conditions. Then after taking those two large prime numbers, you have to calculate n. That is, n equals to p into q. That is, you have to cite the product. Okay. Then in the third step, you have to select a public key. That is the encryption key. Yes, and say the encryption key is marked as E. capital E, such that it is not a factor of p minus 1 and q minus 1. This is into actually. So what happens is that you have to select two large prime numbers, and I'm naming it as p and q, and you have to calculate the product of these two prime numbers, and then you have to select a public key, and public key, that is the encryption key, which is marked as capital E, such that it is not a factor of p minus 1 and q minus 1. And then you have to select the private key, that is the decryption key, and this is marked as capital D, such that the following equation is true. So these two properties are very important in selection of your prime numbers. That is, however way you choose the prime numbers, it has to qualify these two conditions. That is, for encryption, the condition is you have to calculate the ciphertext CT. It is CT from the plain text, that is PT. So ciphertext is considered as CT, and plain text is considered as capital PT. And you have to calculate it in such a way that ciphertext is equals to plain text to the power of the encryption key, that is E, mod of the product of these two prime numbers. And decryption also is you have to calculate the plain text PT from the ciphertext in such a way that plain text gives you ciphertext to the power the decryption key, that is D, mod of the product, that is N. Okay, so these are the conditions. So we'll understand these when we do a sum. So this is an example. Okay, so this is an example you may ask me why I have taken 7 and 17 as my two large prime numbers. Okay, so the thing is that I have already calculated this sum. Okay, I have manually done this sum. So to make you better understand, I have I've already taken out the sum. Okay, I've already calculated, so I know the values. So I've taken P as 7, Q as 17, but we have to calculate using different types of prime numbers. Okay, so these two numbers, it actually looks small here, but these two are very large for the system. Okay, the system, when it is trying to perform encryption and decryption using these two large prime numbers, it is considered as very large for the system. Okay, but for us it is just two numbers, right? 7 and 17. So I have taken 7, I have taken 17. You people can take some other two prime numbers, but you have to take these numbers in such a way that it fulfills these two conditions. Okay, it fulfills these two conditions, that is this third and the fourth condition. Okay, so now let's get started. So the condition is, suppose I have taken two large prime numbers, that is P is equals to 7 and Q equals to 17. Now calculate N, that is calculate the product. So product, when we do in the second step, is 7 into 17, it gives 119. Okay, then in the third step it is saying that select the public key, that is the encryption key E, such that it is not a factor of P minus 1 into Q minus 1. So when you calculate this, 7 minus 1, that is P minus 1 is 7 minus 1 is gives 6, Q it gives 17 minus 1 equals to 16. So 6 into 16 gives 96. Okay, so I have considered the values. I have already calculated it previously, so I am quite sure. So I had made it sure that this gives this values, it satisfies the third and the fourth condition. Okay, so it gives 96. That is P minus 1, that is N. This is N. Okay, so N value it gives 96. Sorry. This is the selection of this is the third step. Okay, that is you are selecting the public key, and you are selecting in such a way that it satisfies this condition. So this is a condition. Okay, now what I have done is I have to select the public key, right? So I have selected the public key in such a way that E it is used as 5. I'm using it as 5 because I've already calculated it taking these conditions. So I'm considering a public key as 5. Okay, so E equals to 5 I have considered. Now using E equals to 5 in this equation, that is D into E, that is you have to also satisfy the fourth condition. Okay, so fourth condition is such that you have to select the private key D, and how D is selected is, now let us calculate it. That is say I'm using D as 77. Okay, this also I have already calculated, so I'm using it as 77. So let us choose D as 77 because 77 into 5 mod 96 gives 1. That is, the condition is such that when you take these values and you use the mod operation on it, it has to give the value of 1. That is, the remainder has to give you 1. Remember, I took one example, 34. That is 34 divided by 11 is, it gives the remainder 1, right? So in that way, okay. Then actually I got power cut, only 16 minutes left. I'll explain it fast, okay. No backup, you see. uh, so uh, encryption key I have chosen E as 5, decryption key I have chosen D as 77. So I've chosen in such a way that 77 into 5, that is D into E, mod 96, 96 is N, it gives 385, that is 77 into 5 is 385 mod 96 and gives the remainder of 1. So D is 77. So we have our encryption key, we have our decryption key now. So now you have to calculate the plain text and the ciphertext. So let's see how. So now suppose based on the above values, consider an encryption and decryption process as follows. Say I'm taking A equals to 1, B equals to 2. Again you can say C equals to 3, D equals to 4, E equals to 5, F equals to 6 and so forth. So what I'm doing is I'm just assigning the numbers to these alphabets from A to Z. However much letters are there, I'm just assigning 1, 2, 3, 4 in that way. So we need to convert the alphabets. So I'm assigning these numbers to the alphabets because since mathematical calculations are required, you need to convert the alphabets into numeric values, because finally we are only using the numeric values, right? So I'm naming it as A equals to 1, B equals to 2, C equals to 3 and so forth. So now let's say I want to send F as the plain text. Suppose I am the sender, I want to send F as the plain text to some receiver. So what I'm considering the plain text PT. So I'm considering the plain text, that is PT, that is F. So PT equals to F equals to 6. And F equals to 6, that is, I'm already assigning the values here. So let's consider F, that is PT, as 6. And now perform the encryption process. So for encryption process, the equation is as follows. CT equals to PT to the power E mod N. We already have these values, right? That is PT. So this is for encryption, okay? So what I'm doing here is, so according to our conversion of the alphabets to numbers, F is assigned 6. We already know that. So PT F equals to 6. Now again, for simplicity purpose, I'm only using one alphabet, okay? We can use the double, triple alphabets here, but I'm using only one alphabet in order to explain you how it works, okay? Then or else the calculation also, it becomes very tedious, okay? So I'm also advising you, when in exam, I won't ask you, or maybe I'll ask you that take P equals to 7, Q equals to 17. I won't ask you to just take some random prime numbers, okay? I'll give you some obvious prime numbers in which you can calculate it, and you will obviously those numbers will satisfy these two conditions, okay? So now we have PT. PT we know is 6, E is 5, and mod of N, and N is 119. So keep these values here. So after keeping these values, I get CT equals to, okay, I did not consider the sum here. I'll show you again. I didn't get time actually. So CT is, I get as 41. So that is, when you keep these values in this equation, you'll get CT equals to 41. Okay. Again, do the decryption process. Okay, the decryption process here we now have the what I'm saying is, one sec, okay. So we have this ciphertext value. We have got the ciphertext value while performing encryption, right? Now do the decryption process. Similarly, decryption is PT equals to CT. CT I have got 41, so keep 41. D is 77, mod of N, that is mod of 119. So when I calculate these, I get it PT as 6. Okay, I get the PT as 6. Okay, guys, just give me a sec. Okay, so this is how you convert, how you perform encryption and decryption process. Okay, my battery is running low. I'll explain these things again to you in the next class. Okay, so kindly excuse me for today. No power cut, only 10 minutes remaining. My laptop will just go up like that. Okay, so how many of you are present today? Ten are present. Okay. Okay, guys, I'm just. Hmm, you can proceed. Okay, now is a break, so I'll end it here for today. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.